It's looking like jockey defending is going to be the best defending mechanic that you can use in FC26. I think it's safe to say that we are all struggling with defending at the moment, and that's because of FC25. Yup, we got so used to the AI defending, but now in FC26 it's manual defending. You have to defend by yourself and it actually needs skills. So this video is going to be about defending. I'm going to show you how to master the jockey defending because it's going to be a big part of FC26. Not only that, also I'm going to give you some defending tips and examples on how to defend in FC26. So after you watch this video, hopefully defending won't be that hard. With that being said, let's jump straight into the video. Looking to build your dream team in FC26? U7buy is the most trusted website out there with fast delivery and 100% the safest way to upgrade your team. With over 40,000 reviews and verified by many huge content creators around the world. 24/7 online customer support, and now you can enjoy free coins with every order and the chance to win up to 4 million coins. Don't forget to use the code Y5K for an extra 8% off. And now let's jump straight into the video. First thing first, we are going to talk about how to activate the jockey defending. All you have to do, hold on the L2, LT button, and you are going to see your player start jockey defending. And this is the normal jockey defending. When you hold on the L2, LT, you are going to see your player start facing the ball wherever the ball is. And not only that, also your defender will be ready for anything. What I mean about that is, if the attacker tried to go past the defender using the jockey defending, you are going to see your player going for a stand tackle without you pressing anything, just the jockey defending. And also if the attacker tried to go for a shot using the jockey defending, you can block the shot. With the normal jockey, you are going to lose a lot of pace, so what you can do is start using the running jockey. And to perform the running jockey, all you have to do, hold on the R2 and the L2 at the same time, or the RT and the LT, basically the running button and the jockey button at the same time. With that, you are going to see your player start using the running jockey. Yup, it's called the running jockey, but it's not that fast in game. What I mean about that is, don't overuse it. Sometimes you just need a normal run without the jockey and it will do the job. When your opponent is about to pass, shoot, or go for a 1v1, that time you can start using the running jockey. Don't be using it 24/7. Now let's move on into examples. How can you use the jockey defending in game? How can you get the best out of the jockey defending? Let me show you. This is going to be example number 1 out of 3. As you can see, my opponent is going for a counter attack. The ball now is with Isaac 1v1 against my defender. And when I saw that my opponent has got some space, he can run into the empty space or he can go for a skill move. The first thing that I have started using is, of course, the jockey defending. Because in this situation, if I go for a stand tackle and I don't win the ball, he is going to be through on goal. Not only that, also my defender will need time to recover. And as you can see, I'm moving backward with my player. I'm not moving into the attacker. Like I said, when you hold on the L2, when you start jockey defending, your player is gonna be ready for anything. So if he tries to go for a 1v1 or he tried to move into the empty space, my player is gonna go for a stand tackle by himself, and that's exactly what happened here. My center back went for a stand tackle, as you can see, by himself without me pressing anything. No, I was just using the jockey defending. Let's move on into example number 2. As you can see, my opponent is building up an attack, so the first thing that I am doing is cutting the passing lines. This is really important, and by using my midfielders. A really important tip on defending in this game: start defending using your midfielders when your opponent is building up an attack. Don't rush out with your center backs. On this example, using my center mid, I'm trying to cut the passing lines. And as you can see, using the jockey defending, my player is now facing the ball, and if my opponent try to dribble, I can easily get the ball. When my opponent passed the ball for the second time, I saw there is another passing line that I need to cut. When my opponent tried to go for the second pass, I was already there, and using the jockey, I was able to intercept the ball. So in simple words, using the jockey, you can go for a stand tackle by running into the player, you can intercept the ball by cutting the passing lines, and also you can block a shot. And that's the reason why jockey defending is a must. Now next up, I'm gonna give you some tips and examples on how to defend in FC26. First thing first, the most important thing, don't rush out with your center backs. You need that defense line strong and you need every defender is next to each other, especially the center backs. Sometimes when your opponent is attacking from the wing, yup, you can control your full backs and try to defend against the winger, but the center backs must stay in line. You might ask, how should I defend? Well, you should be defending using your midfielders. When your opponent is on the edge of the box or he is inside the box, that time of course you should be controlling your center backs. But when your opponent is just building up an attack, don't rush out with your center backs. That will give your opponent a lot of space, and because FC26 gameplay is so fast, in a second you are going to see your opponent getting into the empty space and getting in behind using the space that you gave him with your center back. Let me give you a quick example of what I'm talking about. My opponent is going for a counter attack, a quick counter attack, and as you can see I have got my full line of defense ready to defend. A big mistake would be rushing out with my center back and trying to cut the ball. That would be a big mistake, especially if you try to go for a tentacle and you don't win the ball. That would give your opponent a lot of space. What I am doing now is I am controlling my CDM and I am bringing back my CDM into the defense. What happened next is my opponent passed the ball to the winger, so I quickly start using the second man press using my full back by holding the R1 button, so I can give my opponent less options on the attack. And with the player that I'm controlling, I'm trying to cut the passing lines, and that exactly what happened. Using the player that I was controlling, I was able to cut the passing line and intercept the ball. If you go for a tentacle and you don't win the ball, you are going to lose the defender. So a lot of times the best thing to do is not go for a tentacle. Wait and try to cut the passing lines, because your opponent, if he know how to dribble, he can easily go past the defender. I'm not saying that you should not defend using your center backs. No, of course you should control your center backs, but that's when your opponent is going for a 1v1, for example, or if he is inside the box or on the edge of the box. When he is just building up an attack, he is not dangerous, so don't give him space by rushing out with your center backs. Another tip that I can give you is that the second man press is really good. You activate it by holding the R1 button, but hear me out, don't use the second man press with your center backs. Again, what will happen if you use the second man press with your center backs? You are going to see your center back out of position and you are going to give your opponent a lot of space. Use the second man press to try to press on your opponent with your midfielders or sometimes against wingers. Don't use it with your center backs unless your opponent is already inside the box. That time, if he is inside the box, the second man press can block the shot for you. But when your opponent is building up an attack or he just started the counter attack, there's no need to use it with your center backs. No, use the second man press with your midfielders, and with the player that you are controlling, you should be cutting the passing lines and giving your opponent less and less options. And for the jockey defending, use the running jockey. The running jockey will allow your player to move faster, but not as fast as normal running. What I'm trying to say, don't be using the jockey defending all the time. No, you don't have to be using it all the time. So use it when you see your opponent has got an option to go for a pass or shoot. That time, yup, use it 100%. But if you want to move between the passing lines, don't be using the running jockey. With that being said, this is all for the jockey defending. Now I might drop a full defending tutorial in the upcoming weeks. However, this is all what you need to know about jockey defending. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and like. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.